Hi, Dave. Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted.
Hi, Robin.
I'm well. How are you today?
Good. All right. So, do you know what I do?
Let's see.
Hey, does anybody know how to blur my background?
Let's see. I think I do, but let me find it. Yes, if you look on the bottom where it says stop video, and there's like the little arrow button in the top right corner of that, when you hover over it, click
Yep.
that little button, and then you should see options there, and one of them is blur my background.
I've got video settings.
Yeah,
Right
it says
above video settings, but it would be in video settings probably as well.
down on the left where it says it looks like a little video camera.
Yeah, no. So there's three options. It's choose virtual background, choose video filter, video settings.
Oh, that's interesting. Mine has blur my background.
Mine does too. If you click on video settings, though, you should still be able to do that, I think.
I have a green screen. I do not. Studio effects. Oh, I could do some real weird stuff tonight. I don't think it's the night work. All right, I might just go to somewhere else. All right, thank you all.
You're welcome.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I've got 7:01, so we'll go ahead and get started. We will call to order this meeting of the North Middlesex Regional School District School Committee for Monday, January 23rd, 2023. Inform the committee and the audience that this meeting is being recorded. We'll go ahead and do the roll call. Dave,
Here.
Jessica,
Here.
June,
Here.
Lisa. Thought I saw Lisa. Here but muted. All right, I don't see Mike. Randy?
Here.
I don't see Susan. And I know Tom is usually late. And I'm here. So 1, 2, 3, I saw it's 6. Okay. Our next meeting will be on Monday, February 6th, although Robin, have we posted the interim meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so there is a
The
meeting.
Thursday.
Yes. Do you know what time that is off the top of your head?
Oh my gosh, so many meetings today. I think it's at 6.
It's 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6
Thank
o'clock.
you, everybody. All right, so we're going to have a brief meeting on Thursday at 6 o'clock. And our next regular meeting, which will also be our budget hearing, will be Monday, February 6th.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Consent agenda, we have approval of minutes from January 9th, accounts payable warrants, payroll warrants, and 2 donations, one from Hannaford to Nissitissit and one from the Friends of the East Celebrity Elite Central for the NMRSD chair. If I could get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Lisa. I think that was June. Thank you. All right, Dave,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
June,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes. Yes.
and I will vote yes. So that is unanimous. Thank you. Public communications, we have 5 folks that requested to speak this evening, all on the topic of Ashby Elementary. So I'll just go over the kind of the guidelines for folks, and then we'll hopefully get Zoom to cooperate and make it so you can unmute and talk. But I do ask that folks limit their what they want to say to 2 to 3 minutes, kind of keep it on the topic at hand. All comments should be addressed through myself to the committee. And I will ask, just because we do have a number of folks that want to speak, to try to keep any repetitive comments to a minimum, and we'll go from there. So first we have Miss Jones, Shelley Jones, and I think if I do this, you should be able to unmute yourself and talk. And then up next we'll have Kara McCarthy, and we'll get people teed up as we go here.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Hello, members of the school committee and Superintendent Morgan. Besides the many obvious reasons why it does not make sense to close Ashby Elementary School, the social emotional impact to our youngest students, the likelihood that it will not truly save the district, the $600,000 they hope, and you yourselves have repeatedly told us that every town deserves a school, what are the reasons this is being sought as for the only budget saving solution? We have not been given any other option, and no other possible solutions have been mentioned. I personally think the school committee and district administration owes it to the parents and town of Ashby to have a question and answer forum where the residents can be asked questions and get answers. Having public comments at the beginning of the meetings ahead of the actual business discussion seems counterproductive, and our questions and concerns are going unanswered. How can we continue to promote We Are NM when Ashby is repeatedly excluded and consideration is not given for the needs of our children? Can you imagine if this was your children and your town's only school? How would you feel losing such a huge part of your community and having to uproot your children to another town at such a young age? I urge the Finance Subcommittee to withdraw their suggestion to close Ashby Elementary School for the fiscal year 2023 and 2024. Thank you.
Craig, you're muted. Nobody heard you.
Sorry, thank you. You can't read my lips, sorry. So Shelley, thank you for your comments and your feedback. I really appreciate you you speaking up. And we'll move on next to Kara McCarthy.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Hi, so I agree with everything Shelley said, her sentiments, as well as her Q&A forum idea. I think that's a really great idea. I'm just gonna kind of mimic what I wrote into an email last week. I've been a citizen here for my whole life, which is almost 34 years. I have two small boys, they're a year and a half and a 2.5-year-old. I went to Ashby Elementary all growing up, including, my whole family. And I'm just shocked and I'm concerned and uneasy about the way this whole thing has been handled by the district recently. We pay a lot of money in taxes to North Middlesex, and that's fine by me. Education's a core issue with every community, and it's super important to support your community. But Ashby is a part of that community. And now is the time to support us, and mostly our children. They deserve it, and so does our town. Small as we are, we matter, and our children matter. Sending our children to Squanicook, it's not an option, and nobody wants it. To insinuate this as an option is an insult to our families, the children, and our community. There's not a town near us, no matter how small, that doesn't have their own elementary school, and for good reason. It's vital to small children to have a school in their town. It's close to their homes and community. I don't want my kids spending an hour and a half on the bus each day. And hold on, sorry, I lost my train of thought. As educators, I really hope everyone's aware of how vital it is to keep the school open, either by renovating it or rebuilding. I wanted to say one other thing, but it kind of escaped my mind here. Just, I think going back to what Shelley said was, picture if this was your children. It's really easy to just make decisions, for fiscal reasons. I get it, believe me. But what is most important fiscally is putting that money towards children whose education matters. That's the most important thing you can do with the money. So it's really shouldn't even be any option to close the school ever. And I'll end it at that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Carrie. Really appreciate it. Next, Vanessa Larkin.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Yes, hi. So I want to thank the school committee for the opportunity to speak. So I am an Ashby resident and a mom of 4, 3 who are current students in the district and 2 who just graduated Ashby Elementary and 1 who just started her kindergarten year. And so I just wanted to take a minute to speak in regards to the recommendation to close Ashby and advocate not just for my children, but for the current and future Ashby Elementary students. So as a mom and an educator, I was kind of disheartened that this was being considered under the pretense that it's the way to save the district money or that it would be temporary. So I think much like others that, Shelley and others who have kind of commented that this recommendation was done kind of prematurely without proper due diligence. So I'm not arguing that Ashby Elementary building doesn't need attention. However, there is no doubt or undenying that we have arrived to this point due to the negligence on the part of both the town and the district. So this negligence should not be in turn paid with the loss of equity for the children in Ashby by closing our town school and uprooting their education elsewhere. If there's anything we have learned over the last week, even, is that just the transportation alone of our children could be a logistical nightmare, not to mention stretching resources even further by attempting to fit over 100 more children in other schools that also need to be attended to. So unfortunately, I believe that many are starting to lose that confidence in the district to manage the challenges ahead and make decisions that puts the priority of the children's well-being first. When you look at the core values stated in the district's strategic plan, it states that North Middlesex, the well-being of our students is at the heart of what we do. So I really urge the stakeholders to have the courage to advocate for the children of Ashby and reflect on that mission and core values that NM attempts to uphold. Closing Ashby Elementary will undoubtedly impact our children's social, emotional, and developmental well-being, contradicting exactly the mission and value that North Middlesex is trying to accomplish. So what we need from the school committee and the district is that full transparency and their commitment to exhaust all options in effort to keep our community school doors open. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Next, Melissa Boylan.
Sure. Can you hear me?
We can.
All right. So in order to not kind of repeat what a lot of the other people said, again, I'm Melissa. I'm an Ashby resident. I'm a parent of a current Ashby Elementary student, and I will have an incoming kindergartner student next year for FY24. I wasn't going to speak tonight because the last school committee I got on here and I was, thanking you for your support of Ashby, and we all looked at where that went. It's very frustrating to be an Ashby resident and part of a school district where, it's an uphill battle. No one feels like we are NM when we live in Ashby. It's hard not to feel that this hasn't been a calculated effort under the current leadership. First, we moved the STEPS program out of Ashby, which puts sole fiscal responsibility on Ashby and also highlights a decrease in class sizes from the move for reasons to close. But again, I've emailed, my son has emails. I'm not here to rehash things. I'm just asking for two things as we move forward. First, that you give Ashby residents a chance. You heard us at the meeting that was held in the spring. Well, no one wants to pay more taxes. Please give us a chance to save our school. Second, please be transparent. Similar to what Vanessa said, making a recommendation to close Ashby for 1 year, yet refigure towns and students isn't realistic. And we know it's not a one-term goal. So again, we just ask that you give us a chance, see what Ashby can do. We recognize that the building needs repairs, but we just are asking for a fair chance. Thanks.
Thank you, Melissa. And then we have Patrick McPhee. And Pat, if you could raise your hand, I'm assuming you're the one that just says Pat as the name, but I just want to be sure. There we go. Thank you. All right, Pat, you're up.
Hi, Craig. Mr. Hanson. Thank you for the time today. We do need the school to be fixed, and we do need to keep it here. The problem I'm having is, one, we're moving the kids from steps outside of our program, which would increase our count. And if we brought back in the kids from Townsend to back to Ashby that are already out there, we would be at the close to the 300 mark, which would give the state to pay 50% of our cost. Now, what we're paying for this another evaluation that has been going on since 2017, evaluation. At some point, we have to make a decision. The cost of a new school without having all the kids brought back is it's going to be very damaging to a lot of people in town. But to be honest, it's not going to be as much as you losing on your property. So ponying up the money to pay for a new school, I'm for. Okay, if that's what it takes. The problem was back in 2017, we knew a lot of this stuff was coming, and I'm going to tell you, some of it is lack of building maintenance. If you talk to the old custodians, they'll tell you cleaning out the trap would have never caused the cafeteria floor to warp. 70% of what has happened there is because of lack of maintenance, and we pay for maintenance. Moving on from there, we need to get these step kids and these kids back into Ashby so that we can get our grant. If we're going to pay out another $500,000, and we've already paid out $500,000, at some point, that should have been enough to get us the state grant funding report. And I think it's just that we're picking. 2017, we should have addressed this before any building that went in. Now, my concern is they're looking at an OPM to do the report. My understanding is these have to go out for bids. We can't just jump into an OPM. And using the same OPM from public safety, which we were running a very high expense on top, is not going to happen with North Middlesex, because they're going to have to be transparent. And every dollar that goes out, they're going to account for. So if it's telling Ashby that it's a $22 million building and all of a sudden we're up to up another third, we're going to have to pony up, people. And so I say we get an OPM that signs off on their insurance policy that locks the cost. None of this overrides like we've been doing on the public safety. We're running about 9 million on a $6 million, $7 million building. And we can't afford it. Move the kids back. We'll hit the 300 and the state will pony up 50% of our bill. Let's do it. But like, for whatever reason, and Craig, this is a question for you now. I've mentioned it to you and I've mentioned it to the Board of Selectmen. What is entailed for our Board of Selectmen to require you to do it? Because they said they have no capability of doing anything. Does this go to all of that? I mean, yes, don't get me wrong, Spalding and Hawthorne Brook are going to lose their money because we're pulling our kids back into us. That's a question. Who has the right, Townsend or Ashby, on this vote? So that we can get the state funds. That's all I got. But I'm going to say, people, this reports have been out there since 2017, 3 years before the public safety building started. This is something that we all knew about was coming. We all knew about this. The reports were being done because nobody in Ashby was listening on the Board of Selectmen at the time. I'm good. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Pat. I appreciate it. All right, that was everybody we had for public comment. We did have one other person who withdrew just prior to the meeting. So I appreciate everybody's input. I will add, I've received, and I'm sure other committee members as well, countless emails from folks, I think overwhelmingly in support of doing what we can to keep Ashby Elementary open. I'm in the process of replying to them as best that I can. So if I've not gotten to you yet, I do apologize, but I will reply to everybody. So again, I appreciate the feedback. I think we asked a couple meetings ago to have people send in their input and thoughts and ideas. So again, I appreciate that level of engagement. I do just, I guess, to give a brief update and clarification. So the finance subcommittee did make a recommendation to this full committee based on just exploring options based on the budget situation for the coming year. We as a committee took no action on that. So that subcommittee, I think, is made up of 2 committee members, if I remember. But the full committee here has not taken that up as a vote or taken any action on that. And from our vote, and I don't remember the date, but it was a number of months ago, we did kind of, I think, unanimous, if I remember right, commit to going through the process to understand what is required to bring Ashby to the state it needs to be and to service the kids of our community. And make it a safe, a thriving, I could go as far as state-of-the-art educational facility in our district and make it something that attracts children and families. So we're on that path. And I don't know, June, as chair of the Ashby Building Committee, if there's anything you wanted to add to that.
Yes, I actually do have a small announcement. Well, it could be a big announcement, but the announcement is that Ashby leadership has reached out to the district to discuss another option. So the meeting to discuss that option is scheduled for Thursday this week, February 2nd at 5 o'clock. And the Ashby Elementary Building Committee will be meeting with the Ashby Interim Town Administrator and also with the Ashby Select Board. They are posting a meeting too, so they can both be at our meeting. And Ashby Town Building Inspector will also be at that meeting. So we will have a discussion on Thursday, again at 5 p.m. Also, the Select Board is having their regular meeting tomorrow, Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. So I believe they are also having a discussion prior to meeting with the building committee. So not a lot of information yet until we can have this discussion in an open meeting. So join us if you can.
Thank you, June. All right, I know I'm jumping around the agenda. I'm technically in my chairperson's report right now, just for those keeping score at home. So again, I just wanted to give that update based on all the public comments on where we're at with the process for Ashby, and we'll talk a little bit more under old business in a minute. The other piece I do want to just provide an update on is, and the superintendent will talk about this later in the agenda, but I do want to acknowledge the work that's being done by the superintendent and his team and the building staff on this year's budget. We are in a difficult position, and the team's putting a lot of work into the budget summits that we have with the town leaders. We had one just before this meeting, in fact, and just working through the numbers, trying to find ways to make everything work for everybody. The towns are likewise facing difficult fiscal situation this coming year. So I know everybody's working hard on that. I just wanted to acknowledge that and say that work is appreciated. With that, Superintendent, I'll turn it over to you for your superintendent report, if you have anything.
I don't have anything until we get to the budget.
All right, thank you. So under old business, we have the Ashby Elementary School update. I think we covered most of that. So we'll look for some more discussions later this week. I do want to open it up to other committee members if they have questions or comments, whether based on some of the comments we heard earlier or just other questions or comments. So Dave.
Yeah, Craig, like you, excuse me, I've received a lot of emails from Ashby residents, and I hear you. I'm really sorry I haven't had time to get back to all of them, but I hear you, and I'm staying where I stayed this summer, which is that Ashby Elementary needs to stay open. Obviously, it is incredibly important to the community, and we need to find a way, both us, the school committee members, and the community, to make that happen. So, but I'm fully in support of Ashby Elementary staying open.
Thank you, Dave. Anybody else from the committee wish to add any comments? All right, I'll echo again. I'm also fully supportive. I went through potential elementary school closure when I was a kid of my elementary school in Connecticut, and it's was not a fun experience. We had campaigns and signs and everything else to try to save our school, and thankfully we were successful in that endeavor. So I understand the emotion, the feelings, the impact on kids, the impact on families, the community. And again, I remain committed as long as our taxpayers remain as committed. I will fully support doing what we can. So, June.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who has written to the committee and who has spoke during public comment. It's always important for the full committee to hear from our community. So thank you very much for speaking up.
Yes, thank you. And for your patience in our replies, we will get to you, I promise. All right, seeing no other comments from the committee, we have next on the agenda, the dance team stipend position update from Principal McMahon.
So my video is not working. I apologize. But I'm sure this has been a big topic for a lot of you the past couple of weeks. So, last time we met, to be honest, my notes were not in front of me. So now that I've done some homework, this is easy, very easy dialogue. So this is not about a stipend currently. We wanted to make sure of a couple of things. One, dance team, it's the dance club they want to be known as. So it's semantics for the next contract stipend. They have the dance club, and the advisor is only in year 2, so the stipend has to be given after year 3 is completed. So at this point, we just want to make sure that the dance club was officially recognized and the paperwork is complete, which we did do homework on that. They have been recognized by the building and went through the proper process. So I just wanted to make sure we make a note that for the next teacher's contract, that this would become a stipend available for the person who's running the dance club, excuse me.
Excellent. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? I actually don't remember if we voted on this last time or if we need to vote on it this time.
No, I don't think a vote is necessary.
Okay.
Tim,
No, I just wanted to make note, Craig. I was something I think just to make note that they did the paperwork to be recognized as a club, and there's no need for a stipend at this time. That was really the update.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to the Kiev Wavis Education Camp. Mr. Webster, Mr. Worth.
Am I on?
You're on, live and in color.
All right, thank you. Mr. Worth is joining me as well, and we're excited to talk a little bit about something that we feel is an important and unique opportunity for our middle school students. As the middle level administration has been working pretty closely over the years to just look at how we can help our kids in the area of social emotional learning, I think we all are aware that that is a pretty significant area where our kids really need some help. I came across, actually on a canoe trip, some kids, about 16 young boys, middle school age, in canoes who were paddling along and actually part of a summer camp. And I did some research and found out that they actually were part of what's called Kiev Wavis Education, that used to start off as summer camps for kids. They do a lot of different things. They travel all over. It's a really expensive, it's like $2,000 a week to send your kid there. One of the things that evolved over the years since I believe 1981 specifically was the fact they noticed that in order to build stronger campers, they wanted to find out what they could do during the off season of summer, which would be our school year. And the leadership there realized that in order to build stronger kids, it helps to teach the teacher. So essentially, what the program offers now is something where, similar to perhaps some of you may have heard of Nature's Classroom, where there is experiential learning for kids middle school age, also has a component of the natural sciences, and the kids spend some time in a kind of a woodsy camp setting and learn a lot about themselves and about nature. What's unique about this program, as Evan can speak to as well, is it doesn't have the component of the natural sciences. It focuses more on character building, on really just trying to build leaders, teamwork. They really spend a lot of time on what they consider challenge by choice. And the best way I can describe that, having been there, Evan and I took 5 teachers up this past November to observe the camp in progress with some other middle schools from Massachusetts. I believe one was from Georgetown, Evan, and I can't recall the other, but they—
Islands in Maine.
That's right. Yeah, a couple hours in Maine. That's right. A couple smaller middle schools, but they basically, there's hundreds of acres on Damascotta Lake, where Kiev, which is the boys' camp, and Wavis, which was and still is the girls' camp, work together during the school year for these experiences. And there's, for example, if they're on a ropes course and you have some kids trying to climb up a cargo net, success for one student might be different from success for another. And that's what they mean by challenge by choice. They get to choose what they want to do and what their challenge will be. And then they also spend a great deal of time and effort processing the activity that they did. All of these things that we observed over a couple of days which, by the way, the campus is beautiful. Evan and I are putting together a slideshow for you with more information as we go further. But it's an unbelievable program to observe. Our teachers actually were able to not only observe the program, but also receive some professional development themselves. I mentioned earlier, as far as teaching the teacher, they will host a lot of retreats with faculty, so that teachers that go with their kids also get to learn how to reach those difficult learners that are struggling, how to facilitate environments where kids are willing to take risks. All things that we are finding more magnified as far as their importance now, as we've moved from a pandemic onward, and we're trying to figure out how to close all these gaps that we as educators are seeing with our kids. So I realize right now we're kind of giving you the Cliff Notes version of all of this. Evan and I have met with Superintendent Morgan to talk about it. Our staff that have visited are extremely enthusiastic. The camp has basically said, even though they service schools from Fort Kent, which is the top of Maine, all the way down to Baltimore, Maryland, as we've been there to kind of plead our case for our interest, and the benefit not only of our students but our staff, the senior leadership there is working to see if they can create some opportunities for our schools, both our middle schools, to perhaps start off sharing a week perhaps, and seeing what the experience is like for our sixth graders, and then kind of what that means moving forward with our kids as they come back to school. How does that affect our climate, our culture? The kids, their performances in school, not only academically, but teamwork, all those different social things that they need to learn how to navigate. Those are real important areas. So I think our goal, Evan and I, this evening was to kind of share that with you, answer some questions. We are putting together, some more information for you as far as cost. It would be something that if we were to choose to move forward with, it's much less expensive than something like a Washington, D.C. trip, which would be, I think, if you were to include busing, it's somewhere around $300 a person, as opposed to, for our eighth grade, they're looking at $840 for 4 days. For something that's very important and it's a meaningful experience, but I would argue, as many of us would, that this is an experience that is kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity for our kids to be able to work together as a unit for a succession of days, and then apply that directly to their school, while at the same time our teachers also can do that very same thing, working with each other and then applying it directly to their classrooms. As we're talking tonight, I encourage anyone to reach out to me to come, talk about what it's meant for the two teachers from Hawthorne Brook that went, and how they've directly applied some of the things they learned in their short stay there this past November to their classrooms, and what it could mean for us. There's countless opportunities and possible pathways for our kids as we look to maybe perhaps begin this partnership with the camp. But I think that's the best way that I can introduce a concept to you. Mr. Worth, anything that I might have left out initially?
No, I think you definitely, I think you hit everything, but I mean, just the excitement level from our teachers afterwards, one of the big things from this camp is they actually wrote a whole book on experiential SEL strategies for kids. And so our teachers have been employing some of the strategies from this book in their lessons since doing so. And, teachers have been really excited to do that, and kind of always coming into my office, saying, hey, we tried this. And, kids afterwards, we do kind of like a cool down activity. And how do you feel? I feel really calm. I feel ready to learn. That's what we want. That's what we want from our students. So these are just a lot of really great ideas. It's an exciting opportunity that, we hope to really embark on for sixth grade. So with our kids, hopefully in the fall, kind of a good way to get to know your classmates and your teachers in a really cool location.
If I may just dovetail off of that, the basic model for the program would be, for example, a middle school would go up for 4 nights, 5 days, Monday through Friday, as an example. It could be fewer days if chosen, and it's all held right there at the setting. There's food, like basically room and board. The food is really good. The grounds and the cabins are top notch and excellent condition. They're beautiful. The setting is classic New England. And the kids really, they're getting outside and getting a lot of vitamin D when they're not able to weather-wise. They have multiple facilities that are indoors. They have an indoor climbing facility, for example, so that they can still get those experiences. And then they also have a lot of what basically you would consider classrooms, where they would be able to go in and do some team building activities and then process that. Like, why are we doing this? Why is this important? It's kind of like when Evan and I are walking into classrooms and visiting with teachers, we want to be able to see what the objective of the lesson is. They focus specifically on not only the objective of the lesson, but why it's important. And then they review all of that with the kids afterwards so that they can retain what they learn and then come back and bring that with them to school. So, questions?
June?
First, I want to say I just love this idea. I love kids getting out in nature and working together, and I think it sounds fabulous. I'm curious, will this be replacing the DC trip in 8th grade or in addition to it?
So that's a really good question. I think as we move forward and work through obviously budget and we have to work with our families for something like this to make sure that we can all participate and it makes sense. We would have to make some decisions, as we're moving forward. Are we able to complement this? You kind of think about the transitions into and out of middle school that are so important. The 8th grade trip is something that really memorializes their time, and they get to go down as a group and have a fun activity going on to high school. We think that this opportunity for Kiev is a great way to bring students into the middle school. Granted, we start with grade 5, and we feel like at this point, 5th grade might be a bit young for this kind of experience. But we look really, when Evan and I were talking with Mr. Morgan, we were looking at like, how is this going to benefit the kids and what will result from it? And so if the 6th graders were coming in, then perhaps as we move forward with them into 7th grade, into 8th grade, we're spending a lot of time talking about core values right now, and I'm on the task force that's trying to, put that together for the district with, a mission and vision statement. This really speaks to that directly as far as what kind of students we want. What is the end result when we have a kid graduating from grade 12 in North Middlesex? This we feel like could potentially serve as a pillar for how our kids can grow as independent learners, gain those soft skills going into high school, so that they can really take advantage of all the resources that Mr. McMahon has at the high school level. So whether or not this is going to replace any other trips, I really can't speak to that. I would love to be able to hold on to those. I'm sure we all would. But we feel strongly this is something that's doable. We would obviously work with our PTO, who is very much in support of helping with the fundraising aspect of this. So that hopefully we can, make sure that, all of our students have an opportunity to attend. That's the best I could do at this point. I don't know if anyone else has any, Mr. Morgan, if you or Evan, if you guys have any thoughts to that end.
I mean, right now we don't have any thought about replacing the DC trip with this trip.
Right.
Thinking of it something like a 6th grade opportunity for students.
Okay.
I might add that as we, and hopefully we move forward with this, I had mentioned that there are a lot of options. Some schools decide that, they're going to send their 7th grade. Others have done something multiple years where the beginning experience, if you will, of coming to school involves a fall trip for their 6th graders. The camp also sends teachers to schools for a couple of days to do some activities and kind of have like a clinic at the actual school itself. And then they might, other schools also have their 8th graders go up in the fall, or excuse me, in the spring before they graduate and they get to, it's like a full circle experience for them where they get to do all of these different team building activities before they go on to the high school. It's a really powerful experience. Everyone that I've spoken to, I got to speak to a half a dozen educators that were working there in November. I've continued to talk with their executive director and their senior advisor just about how the program has evolved, and how they're working to not only try to meet the benefits and needs of these kids as they grow and change over the years, but also the teaching staff as well. They really say that they are interested in teachers and students, schools that are interested in learning, not just going up for a week and having a vacation in the woods. Like, this isn't about that. This is about learning and taking something where you're going to, just like in the classroom, you want to comprehend something, retain it, and then apply it. Like, they want the kids to be able to apply their experiences, as well as the teachers, to their lives, their classrooms. I mean, I could go on and on. So, other questions?
Randy?
Not really a question at this point in time, although I would definitely encourage if you to go ahead with this, that we get some feedback from how it went from students and from staff. I do say that I think it's a great opportunity. I was lucky enough the 1 year that Hawthorne Brook, for the 6th grade trip, try the AMC, up in New Hampshire. That trip for the 6th grade, I went with my daughter that year. I thought it was a fantastic trip, being outside in nature and teaching about the flora and the fauna and the other things about nature, and going on a little bit of a hike and being outside and doing the stuff together. This sounds like it's one step further than that. So I'm very eager to see if it's as successful for our students as it seems to be from the people you've talked to.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. We also, just so that you know, as you're thinking about other questions, perhaps, this June, the camp is offered for, they're setting aside some time, end of June, after school gets out, for up to 10 of our teachers to come up for a retreat. I believe it would be a 3-day, 2-night retreat, where so hopefully we could entice more teachers to come up and experience their program and gain some skills coming back. And that would be separate from the experience that the kids would have in the fall. This is more for directly specific for teachers.
Questions, comments from anybody else? June?
I'm just gonna say I love everything about it, and I'm a little sad my kids are aged out. But I'm excited for the other kids that might have that experience.
I'll echo that. I'm pretty excited. I think this is a great idea, and my youngest is in 5th grade now, so better hurry up.
Okay, let's get going. No, I would encourage anybody. I'm sorry, hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, Mr. Hanson, but I would encourage anybody on the board, if you're interested, to ask questions. Please give me a call. So check out their website, kwe.org. Like I said, Evan and I will put together. He's already done a nice job with some PowerPoint materials, but go up and visit. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful spot, but just they have so much to offer, and they're willing to talk to anybody and work with kids and teachers. They really do love what they do up there. So thank you for your time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you both. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you sharing all the details. That does sounds exciting. So hopefully we can bring that to fruition.
All right.
Thank you both. All right, Superintendent Morgan, budget message update.
Yes, so we will be updating the current budget message for next Monday night. We did this evening have our 4th and final budget summit with the leadership from all 3 towns, and just shared with them that we are still currently sitting at an increase of 6.34% over FY23 going into FY24. It is important to point out that that does not include any discretionary funds for growth, anything that happens between now and the fall, or anything that happens over next school year. So again, that 6.34% is for what our current numbers are. And we're trying very hard not to go beyond that. Really, it's not all due to staffing, but we have experienced some class size issues over the course of this school year that we've had to address during the year. Again, when K-4 classes get to 25, we're looking at potentially adding a paraprofessional or even an additional teacher. That has happened. I know we have talked in looking at Pepperell in particular, who has seen an increase now of, I believe, 81 students between October 1 of this year and October 1 of last year. So it's been pretty significant, a significant increase at the Varnum Brook. And then post-COVID, we are dealing with increased social emotional needs, and we've added additional counseling staff for that, and really a significant uptick in special education needs. Students being tested and students who have been identified for out-of-district placements have gone up, and our staffing has been impacted by that as well. Also looking at the continued unknowns of the budget, we still don't have a number for health insurance. We do not have numbers for special education transportation at this point that are finalized, and we do not know what the funding is going to look like from the state. So again, right now we're looking at 6.34%. We could potentially get some good news from health insurance. We could get some good news from special education transportation and from the state. I think all of you are aware of question number 1 that was voted in last year, when that money is supposed to be earmarked in part for education. I think one of the bigger challenges is that the governor, because of the change in leadership, likely will not have a Chapter 70 number to us until early March. And oftentimes we are getting that late January, early February. So it is going to take some additional time, as the change in leadership often does. And unfortunately, that is going to come very, very close to our budget meeting with the school committee for our budget adoption vote. And again, always trying to look forward into not just FY24, but also FY25, when we will continue on with challenges. We will have 5 collective bargaining agreements that expire at the end of next year that we will have to address. And we will also have an expiring school bus regular transportation agreement that we will have to address. And I know that a neighboring school district right now, their 3-year offer incorporates an 11.5% in year 1, an 11.5% increase in year 1, which is obviously very, very challenging. So again, just making people aware of the situation. We are going to do everything we can, but realistically speaking, it's a challenge, because if you look at our budget and really take a deep dive into it, there's very little place to make reductions other than with people. And that would obviously have a drastic impact on the services that we offer kids. It would have a drastic impact on the on class sizes and what we're able to deliver for an education for our students. There is really nothing extra in our operating budget from year to year. And I will share with you what I shared at the budget summit, is that our current 6.34% increase is actually very competitive, if not lower than many regionals and also many comprehensive districts in the state. This is a problem post-COVID throughout the entire Commonwealth, and I would guess throughout the entire country. So it's certainly going to be a challenge. And moving forward, again, with just the challenges of the CBAs next year, we want to make sure that we have a budget in place that supports staff, because it's not just about recruiting good staff anymore. With the number of teachers entering the profession not coming anywhere close to the number of people leaving it, and that's not just Massachusetts, that's nationwide, we're going to have a challenge, like all school districts are, retaining teachers, not just recruiting. North Middlesex had a great year this year. We were very, very lucky in being able to fill our positions. I know that many districts in the Commonwealth have been unable to fill positions this year with licensed educators, just because the workforce is not there. So it's a challenge, certainly a challenge that we are up to, but certainly going to need the support of the residents in the town and town leadership and school committee to make sure that we are, again, putting forth a budget that will do best for our kids and keep us as a competitive school district in the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Superintendent. Any questions?
That's all I have.
Brad, just on the timeline, so we have the budget hearing next week, and that's kind of I'll say an open forum on the budget with leadership from each of the towns attending.
Yes.
Is there anything folks should be aware of leading up to that or beyond?
I wouldn't say really at this point anything substantial. Again, there's still hope that we are going to see additional funding. The state did come through with ESSER funding. That ESSER funding really is not funding the positions that are outlined in this budget. The great majority of the positions that ESSER funded are funding interventionists, and those positions are being phased out. I think right now that we have 2 positions in the district that are being funded by ESSER. And that was because we absolutely had to have those positions due to special education needs. But those are being moved into the operating budget next year again, because the ESSER funding is starting to phase out. But outside of that, again, it's just the 6.34%. The only way that we can get it close to 3% would be really a reduction in the neighborhood of $2.3 million. $2.3 million when you start talking about reductions in staff, that would be very, very damaging to the school district. And I can say for certain that the special education needs that we've addressed in the district, social emotional needs that we've addressed in the district, are not things that we want to move away from. We want to make sure that we keep those services in place.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? All right. And we'll move on to new business. First is the out-of-state trip. Yep, thank you. And okay.
Hi. So my second grade team would love to bring their students to Beaverbrook. They have an amazing experience. It's called Bugs, Butterflies, and Beetles is the program, and it aligns with our grade 2 EL curriculum, which is nice. And it's a field trip that they've taken for years pre-COVID, and they'd love to get back there with their kids. So it's across state lines, so we need the stamp of approval, please.
All right, any questions on the long distance trip to Hollis? All right, then I'll take a motion to have the school committee approve out-of-state field trip to Beaverbrook Association in Hollis, New Hampshire as presented.
So moved.
Ooh. No idea who said any of that.
I appreciate the enthusiasm.
Yeah, that was good. I think Randy and Dave said something, so we'll give it to them. All right, any questions or comments on this one? All right, Dave?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
June?
Yes.
Lisa? Lisa, you're muted. We're not there. All right, Randy?
Yes.
Nope. Okay, got you both. Thank you. Tom?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. So that is unanimous, quick and easy. Just
Thank
like
you
that.
very much.
You're very welcome. Enjoy the trip.
Thank you.
Next, we have an overnight field trip for, I guess, in Hyannis. Principal McMahon again.
I think this is athletics, is it not, Craig? Is this student council?
This is student council overnight field trip in March for the conference in Hyannis.
Yeah, I think Kim Jameson is on. Robert, is Kim Jameson on? Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't see her. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so the student council does a yearly trip due to COVID. It was taken away the last couple of years, and they are bringing it back this year. It's a 3-day, 2-night trip to Hyannis. It's where the student council kids go and learn about leadership, develop leadership skills, and how to bring it back to the school, and what they can do to make the school kind of school spirit bumped up and utilize that stuff. So they're just bringing it back this year, and I think the protocol is I have to get it approved. So I just wanted to make sure I did that.
Excellent. Any questions for Ms. Jameson? All right, then I'll take a motion to for the school committee to approve student council's overnight field trip from March 8th to the 10th to attend the 2023 annual Students Council Conference in Hyannis, Massachusetts, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Dave and June, thank you. Any last questions or comments? Seeing none. Dave,
Yep.
Jessica,
Yes.
June,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and I will vote yes, so that is unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ms. Jameson. Moving on, North Middlesex Regional High School Band, Ms. Haynes.
Yes. Hey, thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Ken, yep.
Great. So the district has renewed the bond anticipation note for another year for the 3 accelerated repair projects and the high school project. The borrowing is just $19.5 million, and the renewal will put this bond anticipation note renewed for 1 more year, being due next February. In the packet is the results of the bid award. It was actually a little bit unique in that the low bidder came in with only recommending $18.5 million. And then the second bidder, the second lowest bidder was awarded the 1 million. So to make up the 19.5, it's not very common that this happens, but it happened this time. So unfortunately, we do have to have the language read into the vote. If somebody would be willing to, the language is in the document in the packet under new business ban. I don't know if there's any questions before we do that, but it's been done, but we've been renewing this for probably the past 3 or 4 years now.
If everyone can bear with me, I will try it.
Go for it.
Thanks, Randy.
No problem. I move that the school committee approve the sale of 19,532,438 general obligation bond anticipation notes, the notes of the town dated February 3rd, 2023 and payable February 2nd, 2024 at par and accrued interest, if any, plus the premiums, and to the purchasers indicated as follows. Principal amount of $18,532,438 to Fidelity Capital Markets, a division of National Financial Services LLC, with a premium of $242,589.61 at a rate of 4%, and 1 million to Bank of America Securities Incorporated with a premium of $12,630 at an interest rate of 4%. Vote to that the amounts of $214,052.59 and $375,085.81 representing premium from the 2020 and 2021 bond anticipation note issues of the district respectfully shall be appropriated in the following amounts to the following projects. The new district high school 2020 notes premium of $100,947.47 and 2021 notes premium of $170,477.01 to the Varnum Brook Elementary School renovations, the 2020 notes premium of $57,030 $37.58, and 2021 notes premium of $103,413.90. To the Hawthorne Brook Middle School renovations, the 2020 notes premium of $27,160.75. 2021 notes premium of $49,187.59. To the Squanicook Early Childhood Center renovations, the 2020 notes premium of $27,160.75. 2021 notes premium of $48,888.17. To the Varnum Brook School Feasibility Study from the 2020 notes premium, $1,222.26. The 2021 notes premium of $2,182.74. And the Hawthorne Brook School Feasibility Study from the 2020 notes premium of $523.78. And the 2021 notes premium of $936.40, for a total from the 2020 notes premium of $214,052.59, and a total of the 2021 notes premium of $375,085.81. Further, that in connection with the marketing and sale of the notes, the preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated January 11th, 2023, and a final official statement dated January 18th, 2023, each in such form as may be approved by the district treasurer, be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. And further, that the district treasurer and the chair of the committee be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver a significant events disclosure undertaking in compliance with SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the district, which undertaking shall be incorporated by reference in the notes for the benefit of the benefit of the holders of the notes from time to time. Further, that we authorize and direct the district treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures and continuing disclosure procedures in such forms as the district treasurer and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain a tax exempt status of the notes and to comply with relevant securities laws. Further, that any certificates or documents relating to the notes, collectively the documents, may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be regarded as an original and all of which shall constitute one and the same document. Delivery of an executed counterpart of a signature page to the document by electronic mail if a PDF file or other electronic transmission shall be as sufficient as delivery of a manually executed counterpart signature page to such document. And electronic signatures on any of the documents shall be deemed original signatures for the purposes of the documents and all matters relating thereto having the same legal effect as original signatures. Further, that each member of the committee, the district secretary, and the district treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes.
Thank you. Nice job. All right, do I have a
Second.
that was the motion. Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none. We'll go ahead and vote.
Craig, you're not going to repeat that?
I'm not going to repeat that. As stated by Randy, that's what we're going to vote on, including all the further votes sections in there. All right, Dave,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
June,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and I will vote yes, so that is unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Randy, for reading that.
Thank you, Randy. That was a workout.
All right, next up, we have the National Grid Guardian LED lighting, Miss Haynes.
Yes, so a few weeks ago, Dave Amari, Oscar, and myself met with Guardian Energy, Charlie L, and reviewed two projects, the Nissitissit School and the Varnum Brook School lighting project. A number of years back, we had a Green Communities grant and we upgraded the LED lighting at those buildings. We were looking to see whether we could move forward and complete the entire buildings because they were partially completed under that grant. And we asked for a proposal to do that work. There is an option which would allow us to finance that the lighting upgrades over 5 years on our National Grid bill. And National Grid is currently offering us incentives to do that work. It is a 5-year agreement if we were to go forward with it and requires school committee approval, anything over 3 years. So the idea of financing it on the National Grid bill is that the use of the LED lighting would reduce the energy consumption in the building and the pay for it over time on that on the actual bill itself. Both Dave Amari are here, as well as I believe Charlie L's here as well from Guardian. If they wanted to say anything further about it, we have made one small change since the packet was delivered to you, and that the Nissitissit project, the overall cost actually came down slightly. And but the over 5-year cost was just slightly less than it was originally. So we were at 79,117. And the projection right now is that it would be 78,344. The financing was going to be originally 111,000. Now it's 104,000. So that the long-term save, not an immediate savings, unfortunately, wouldn't happen next year that we would see instantaneous savings, but over time, having those LED lights in there would be less energy consumed at the buildings, therefore a long-term savings. So I didn't know if the committee wanted to entertain, wanted to hear anything further from either Charlie or Dave on the projects. I know Dave looked over some of the details on the actual lighting and what was going to be replaced. Now it's been a long meeting, so just wanted to give you the option.
We have questions or? I guess my question, just so I'm clear on kind of the scope of this is for Guardian to come in and swap out basically bulbs and fixtures. And the cost is the labor and the cost of the fixture, and then National Grid provides a bit of a rebate on that.
Correct. They'll be providing an incentive. I believe the incentive was 56,000 for Varnum Brook. And was it, sorry, I have it on the page here. 29,000 for Nissitissit. So we gain by being able to take advantage of the utility, paying a portion of the cost instead of us paying the entire bill. They actually give us a write-off. And the other issue with this is that the Green Communities grants used to cover these pretty regularly, but they're backing away from lighting and trying to move on to other projects. So we don't anticipate having grant funding for lighting in the future like we had seen in the past.
Okay. Any questions from anybody else? All right, seeing none, I will take a motion to approve a 5-year agreement with National Grid / Guardian for LED lighting at Varnum Brook Elementary School and Nissitissit Middle School as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Tom and Dave, all right. So Dave,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
June,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. So that is unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you very much.
All right, now last under new business, we have middle school world language updates. Dr. Reese.
Good evening, everyone. I will keep this update brief. Let me just. Oh, Craig, can you share or give me screen sharing?
Yep, I can give you screen sharing, I believe. Oops. I can't, Robin, does that let you? It's not letting me change who can share.
Oh, I've got it now.
Oh, all right, then Robin did it.
Let's go. Are you seeing the slideshow?
It's, yes, just popped up.
Okay. So what I wanted to do today was just give a very quick update on the middle school world language programming. And then at the end of the year, give you some more data just in terms of where students are and what our next steps are. So as a reminder, last year, the committee voted to approve the use of the online program through World of Learning through the end of the 2023-2024 school year for our 8th grade students. Students started that last year and have been continuing this year. Part of the rationale in terms of adding this was because of the challenges that had been identified just in terms of being able to find certified teachers to instruct the programs at both of the middle schools. In terms of the model, the students are receiving synchronous instruction, so live online instruction 2 times a week during their Patriot time block with a certified instructor through World of Learning. That instructor then provides them with additional work that they work on throughout the course of the week and have to turn in for grading and feedback. There is a World of Learning has provided us with a scope and sequence to show that what they'll be addressing throughout the course of the year, which are concepts that are in alignment with our current Spanish 1 classroom. Students do receive a letter grade for their performance in this class, and they receive feedbacks as they would any other graded class. I'm not going to go through these in detail, but I wanted to provide them in the slides so that you'd have them as part of your handouts. But there are 8 modules, and you can see what we call can-do statements. So what are the expectations of what students will be able to do at the end of that module or area? And you can see the length of each of the modules. So there are 7 modules that students participate in over the course of the school year. The other thing I'm not going to go through in detail, but again, wanted to provide for you is just the alignment with the Massachusetts World Language Curriculum Frameworks. There are 3 domains within World Language: communication practices, linguistic culture practices, and lifelong learning practices. And so what I've also provided within this presentation for you to review at your leisure is just the standards and the alignment with what the program that the students are receiving within the 8th grade. So more importantly, in terms of data and just kind of reflecting where we are, I took a look at student participation. And as you can see, from last year to this year, we have more students participating. Last year, there were no students at Hawthorne Brook that participated. We had 7 that started and 5 that successfully completed. This year, between the 2 schools, we have 38 students that originally signed up, 37 that are still enrolled, and we have 35 that are currently receiving passing grades for the class. And this just breaks down the performance. As you can see from Hawthorne Brook, of the 10 students, 9 of them have a grade of 70 or above. Of the Nissitissit 27 students, 22 students have a grade of 70 or above. 4 students are between 50 and 70, and 1 student does have a score below 50. I also wanted to take a look just quickly at last year's students that completed the program. So all of the 5 students that completed the program did enroll in a foreign language program up at the high school. 4 of them enrolled in Spanish. 1 did enroll in the French classes. And all of the 4 students that are participating in the Spanish classes are doing very well, better than their average for their classes. They all received a grade 93 or above for term 1. And as you can see, the class averages for those classes are 78, 98, and 95, and they're above the class average for the classes. So just in terms of where we're going to go from there, we want to continue to look at how do we increase enrollment going into the next school year. We're also looking, and I'm meeting with staff from the high school to look at what are the expectations of students that are participating in Spanish 1 as 9th grade students, and how do the skills that the students are learning in 8th grade align with the skills that are expected for students in Spanish 1, with the intent of being able to hopefully allow students the opportunity to begin 9th grade as at the Spanish 2 level, which would then get them the opportunity to participate in AP Spanish by their end of their high school career. And what we're doing is looking at what are the assessment tools that we can use to measure both what's happening at the 8th grade and 9th grade level, and then trying to match up the expectations for students that are going into Spanish 2 from 9th to 10th grade with those students that are leaving the middle school having participated in this program. So my goal is to get that data for you by the end of this school year in terms of what that looks like for students that completed the program and how many are at a level that they can move into Spanish 2, and then to continue to monitor and provide feedback and data as we go into the next school year, so that at the end of the school year, we'll have a recommendation of how we should continue the world language offering at the middle school.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Randy?
I'm not sure if I missed it, but did you get any feedback from the students who took the classes? What do they feel, how they feel about it compared to like all the other classes they take with a teacher right in front of them?
I had not collected that data, but that's certainly something I can look at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that's important to know what from the student standpoint on what their experience is. Thank you.
How do for students that are taking other activities or need extra help during their Patriot time, how does that reconcile with the foreign language?
So that's one of the challenges that we're trying to still work through, and something to consider.
Okay. Do we have any students that, do we know if we have any students that maybe didn't take it because of that conflict or are in that situation today?
No, I don't have that data.
And then all those students that went through the program, they went to Spanish 2 in high school in 9th grade?
So there were 5 of them that completed last year. 4 went to Spanish. Oh no, they went to Spanish 1 this year. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So this was one of our goals as we're looking at having more data. Last year, the program was structured a little differently in terms of the amount of time it was being offered and how it was structured. This year it was more intense, and our goal was trying to create a parallel to our Spanish 1 offering.
Okay. So the hope would be that the 35 students this year go to Spanish 2 when they get to 9th grade.
Yep, that's what we'll work towards. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other questions, comments from anybody? All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Reese. I appreciate the update. Moving on to subcommittee reports. Accelerated repair, Lisa, any update?
No update. And as for finance, we have a meeting tomorrow morning. And that's the only update from finance as well.
Okay, thank you. Ashby Elementary Building Committee, June, any further information?
No, I think we covered it earlier. So Thursday at 5 p.m.
All right, thank you. Communications and negotiation, Tom? those are separate committees, but
Yeah, I can hammer those both. So for communication, we met today. Put together kind of the next quarterly installment. So I'll be sending that to the full committee to just provide some feedback on. And then hopefully we can get that put up. And then we're working with Robin and Jeremy on just kind of analyzing some of the metrics in terms of foot traffic, just to see how well the website was visited during this past time. And then for negotiation and personnel, there is no update at this time.
all right, thank you, Tom. And policy, Randy.
Yeah, I need to put together a meeting. I've been a little behind, but hopefully next week we will have a meeting and get a couple of other regular meetings down on the books. So.
Excellent. Real quick, Randy, the next steps on the regional agreement after that last meeting, is that just for the committee needs to get together and discuss, or was there something?
I need to just touch base with the attorney, probably first to see about their recommendations for the school committee recommendation. I think that's the largest thing that I'm not sure how to do. And also see about his updates on the feedback from DESE, because a lot of it was minor legal language that I'm not going to be able to necessarily get right. So I want to get some feedback from the attorney, and then I'll bring it to the committee.
Okay, awesome, thank you. All right, any questions from anybody on any of the subcommittee reports or updates? If not, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Sure.
Second.
Thank you, Randy. I've been worried for a second. All right. Dave?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
June?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And I will vote yes, so we're adjourned. I appreciate everybody's time. Have a good night. We'll talk to you all soon.